Hello, my name is Matt Broski, and today we'll be talking about this Jewish culture. Um, Throughout history, there has been many different cultures that we learn about in school. They had hardships or just long and interesting histories because of the problems they have faced being sent to concentration camps, not really truly having a land of their own and keep on getting taken away, and all the hardships they have faced throughout their whole known existence. It's one of the most interesting, in my opinion, because of that. And the more they talk about it, the more you talk about it, the more you realize, the more that they went through that you don't even realize it. Like, obviously the World War II was a big one, and everybody knows about that one. But the more that you realize from that, then or more than they use from that, then you realize that it's been always hard for them, facing so many different things. The Jewish culture has been around for about 6,000 years, starting with Adam and Eve. That was pretty much the whole thing, starting of it. They have very deep religious roots in what they believe and how their culture was started. Everybody knows the Holocaust, and where the Nazis killed more than 6 million people. But the Holocaust wasn't a thing, and wasn't just the first thing that ever happened to them that was bad. In 1948, the Jewish people didn't have an independent state in their homeland, and they tried for a long time because they'd been kicked out of a number of countries because they wouldn't convert to the religion of that certain land. But finally, in that 1948, they finally got land of their own in their country. They were enslaved by Egypt. It was the pain and torture of that. In 1979 BC, their leader Solomon died, and the kingdom Jewish people divided. One went to Rabbim, to Judah, and the other one went to with Jeroboam ben Nevat to go to land Israel. In 1187, they were allowed to return their land in Jerusalem, but in 3 short years, they were massacred in England, and after the Sign of Hope, the Dred started all over again. Like I said before, they have a deep history and filled with being enslaved, being killed, getting kicked out from where they were living, getting expelled, getting massacred. This history is very long and complex, and they had a lot going up and down from other people because of what they are and what they believe in. But that was it. It was just the religion and just what the type of person they were. With the Jewish culture, it is also a religion that has strong beliefs in the New Testament books, like Christianity, but unlike them, the books in the New Testament in a different order. They call the New Testament the Torah, and in the Torah, the first 5 books outlines laws for Jews to follow. The Torah is also known as the Tanakh and the Pentateuch. Jewish people not only see themselves as belonging to a religious group, but as a nation and as a person reflecting doctrine and cultural practices. They really emphasize on family, community, charity, education, ethics, and compassion for the vulnerable, a common history and ritual, and a connection to the rich Jewish history and its lands. In their religion, the God's name is treated with such respect within this culture that writing of his name is fine, but erasing it or defacing the name in any way is frowned upon strongly and is not accepted. So they try not to write God and spell it out G-O-D as much as they can, because they don't want anybody in the future erasing it at all. So what they do instead is they hyphen it. So they go G-D, so that their God never at all gets discriminated by anybody else. The main scripture in the Torah, which mentioned before, is also divided in 54 portions, and today's not came to mean only the written and teachings, but the totality of Jewish teaching and thought as well. Prayer in their culture is a blessing from food to nature and can be done in public or private and can be said at certain times or at random times when needed. A lot of times, Jewish people set to prayer up to 3 times a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and 1 in the evening. The Jewish community is rich in strong culture, but they also have a lot of stereotypes come along with their name throughout history. One of the biggest stereotypes towards them is that they hate Christians and are quite hostile because they believe to be undermined by the church and state long ago. People also think with the physical features that they have a big hook nose, dark beady eyes with drooping eyelids. They might have came from a propaganda by the Nazi Party with the features and also was done at the same time with the Soviet Union, but not as often. And this is why a lot of people assume that because of those propagandas. Another physical feature is they also portrayed as swarthy and hairy and sometimes associated with the hair texture known as a Jewfro. When I was in high school, I played a Jewish school in baseball, and their name was Fuch Mizrachi. For the longest time, when we had them on a schedule, I had no idea who they were and how to say their name. I truly just expected a normal team of baseball players, but it was a very interesting feeling for me, and I was actually quite shocked for how they did things, because when they got there, we had to push the game up earlier, and since we always ask questions about certain teams and what kind of practice do they do, who do they play, they do not play any games on the weekends because they believe that the weekends are set for family and prayer and all religion religion. I thought that was very interesting. We also push the game up so that they don't interfere with family dinner or prayers at night with their family, and so we had to move up the game so the game was ended earlier than it usually would. But during the game, there was a fly ball hit to deep center field, and their center fielder was running back, and his hat fell off, and he was wearing a yarmulke, which I thought was very interesting because you don't see that often, but it was very common with the team. We noticed that everybody was wearing it. But they also, very common for baseball players is to play also in the summer other than just the high school season. And they learn, but they don't play in the summer because they believe, or they go to their homeland, Israel, to have a Bible retreat. So they believe that playing baseball is truly just for fun and nothing else, which is wonderful. Playing them was one of the great blessings I had that I never really realized, because it made me realize more than just what was out there with normal baseball players. But during the game, they also wasn't speaking English at all, really. And we were talking with the coaches and the players, and they did speak English, but to them, they were taught in their schools that Hebrew was like the main language in their schools. And because they wanted to stay connected as much to the homeland as possible. Today we talked about the Jewish culture and their deep history and some things that significance of their culture recognizable and what they believe in and their values and what are some stereotypes held by people today and about them and learn about something shocking that we not know before. Every culture is different and we can learn new things from each culture. I learned from a deep and long culture of Jewish that they are built on a rich, meaningful culture that went through a lot and is still learning more and more about them. Their culture and religion is everything to them, and being Jews is something to be proud of because they went through everything and fought for everything you can think of and came out better than they were before. All right, thank you.